Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. My name is Eric. Hope you're all doing well. We got the latest Manchester United news. We're going to talk about Jason Wilcox's interview today. Apparently, there's been some updates surrounding and regarding Harry Maguire and Casemiro. Are they going to potentially get new contracts? We got updates about that as well. There's been a little bit of an adjustment to sort of Ruben Amorim's transfer plan. A little bit of an update surrounding, what targets we're looking for, and as we move closer to January, what positions are we actually going to try and get in? Obviously, I think the biggest one that everybody knows that we need to do is the midfield, and that seems to be the most important one. But there's been an update about the left wing back position that many people in the fan base do believe that we do need to add there, and it may come as a bit of a disappointment. And we're going to talk about any other news that there's some news coming out right now, so we'll get to that as well. Please make sure you smash the like button. Get that done, people. It is important to the channel. It helps get pushed out there. It helps us grow, so get that done. Smash the like button. If you're new and you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe, but also hit the notification bell icon so you get notified when we go live and you stay up to date with all the news and information, and you hear from the beginning of the show. So let's get straight into it, people. Also, leave comments down below if you're watching after it's aired. But I'm going to get into sort of the interview because, you know what, we heard from Jason Wilcox last week. I talked about it. I listened to the full interview. I didn't read it today. I did not read it. I listened to him speak. I listened to his tone, his mannerisms. I liked a lot of what he had to say. I wish he went a little bit in more depth on some certain things because I wanted some more detail. But I will have to start off by saying, after listening to this man speak for a good 40 minutes straight on the Manchester United's official podcast that they have, I believe it's called Inside Old Trafford or something like that. I actually believe, and I feel like I've been giving him a little bit, I've been underrating him a little bit, yeah, because I've been saying for a long time I think Vivel is probably the smartest and best guy we got in there. But actually now I do think, after hearing what Jason had to say and explaining things, I actually do rate Jason a little bit more. And I do think that he is actually a good guy that we have, and he does sound like he can handle the director of football role. So without further ado, let's just get into this and start breaking it down. And we also have an update about Lisandro Martinez that I want to get into as well. So we're going to get into that on the back end. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's get into this. So Wilcox, bear with me because there's a lot. I mean, it's a 40-minute interview. We're going to try and condense it and hit the major parts. But Wilcox saying, all we're doing now is making sure that we make decisions for the football club and not for the benefit, not for the short-term protection of ourselves. We're making some really bold decisions for the future of Manchester United. Man United is way bigger than any player, any manager, any staff member. We are custodians, if you like. And we've just got to understand that at some point of our journey will end inevitably. We need to make sure that when we leave this football club, whenever that is, I hope I am here for a long, long time, that this football club is in a much better position. I think, listen, pretty standard statement, but it is a bit encouraging to hear your director of football actually come out and speak. Again, as United fans, we're not really used to this. This is sort of a new thing since Ineos has come in. I mean, we didn't even have a director of football, but just to hear people that are actually in charge, running day-to-day operations on the training pitch with the players, in the focal point of the main planning for this club, and not just things that are going on right now, but for the future of this football club. Listen, it's very good to hear your director of football talk about, basically the minimum of our standards that we've always held close to our chest, that, Man United is bigger than everything, and then no player is bigger than the football club, and no manager is bigger than the football club, and nobody is bigger than the football club. The football club always comes first. So it's important to hear the director of football, just kind of restating that. But he goes on to say, I really feel now this football club is moving in the right direction, and that is my own personal view. That is not a biased view because I'm working here. I look at every department, and I'm going to talk about the sporting department only because it's unfair to me to talk about any other departments. But when I think about the sporting department, we are making progress in every area. In every single area, we are making progress, and the fans have been a huge contributor to making sure we can make the right decisions and ultimately, ultimately our plan. Our idea is for us to get back winning for them. They're a huge part of this football club. Part of the history is one thing, but the fans, the generations that come to Old Trafford is something special. You can't begin to explain it. It's very, very special. Now, just on that first bit, I mean, I think, across the board, we should be looking to make improvements at this football club. They are needed because we have been slacking and lacking for years now and neglecting every aspect and every facet of this football club. So, but for Jason Wilcox particularly, I mean, he is in charge of basically the entire sporting department. He is the director of football. And he's been saying this, Ruben's been saying this, others have been saying this, and Jason's been pretty adamant about this for quite some time now, that they are making progress, they are seeing signs that things are progressing, and that they are, he believes they are on the right track, we are on the right track, we are on the correct track, and they want to continue moving forward. And I think, you know what, it's not all roses and rainbows and sunshine. We still have many problems, in the team, at the football club, but there are things that have been improving. There are things that have changed. There are noticeable things. I always highlight the transfers. The transfers are noticeably different. The player profile that we're going after are noticeably different. The transfer fees, the wages we're paying are noticeably different for sure. I think even some aspects inside, there is an ongoing battle right now inside of the dressing room, inside of the team. We are trying to flip the mentality. We are trying to create a new sort of ecosystem, a new dynamic, a new way of thinking, a new way of feeling. And that's always going to be an uphill battle, an uphill struggle, because we've been the same way for so many years. Like, it's such a long period to be in a certain way that when you come to make change, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult. Jason talked about this in the interview that we're probably going to get to. He talks about bumps in the road, and we got to sure we smooth out those bumps, as we're coming to them, and making the road, smooth and a good path to travel on. But he touched on the fans, and sometimes I've criticized our fan base. Sometimes I give plaudits to our fan base, but I think the fan base overall, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, where we've been since Ruben has come in, I think the fans, for the most part, I think the majority of the fans have shown exemplary patience, and they're trying to understand, and they want to back this, and they want it to work, and they're trying to give Ineos time. And the fan base gets carried away. There's extremes on both sides. There's haters, there's lovers to the max, there's haters to the extreme. But I think for the common sense average Manchester United fan, I think that people have noticed some changes, and I think that's why we're still sticking around with this, and I think that's why you're not seeing revolts, you're not seeing protests as much, because I think there is a sort of feeling that there is change bubbling on the surface. We just don't know how good of a change it's going to be, how successful it's going to be. But I like to always see things play out and let them go. And from listening to Jason today, Ruben with his messaging and, his ideas for the football club, I am quite encouraged with these two men and Christopher Favell being there as well. So, let me get, if anybody has anything in the chat, drop thoughts, likes, opinions, but I'm going to continue and carry on. One of these, Jason also had to go on and say, last year's summer window 2024 was a lot more chaotic than this one, and this one was really calm. With this one, we knew the plan. We knew which players were going to target. We had our lists. We knew which areas of the pitch we needed to improve. These are continuous meetings with myself and Ruben Amorim, with Christopher Vivell, and with his team underneath, where we are very clear on the profiles that we need. So the brief will come from myself and Ruben. It goes into Chris. There's a lot of debate and discussion around the profiles that we need. And then the scouts will go into the market. We will combine that with the data team. And then there will just be constant dialogue. Now, I know this doesn't sound major. It doesn't sound huge. It doesn't sound groundbreaking. But for us, it kind of is. Because I can guarantee you that we were not doing this pre-Ineos, pre-Jason Wilcox and everybody else, and Vivell and Omar Barada. Before them, we were not doing these things. We were not operating in this way. We did not have a good system of operation. I mean, Cristiano coming out the other day, and this is why I did not agree with him, that he said United has zero structure. And I think that was true when he was here, when he came back for the second time. But I don't think it's true anymore, because I think actually Ineos have come in. I think Wilcox and the rest of them have instilled actually a structure. And when you're instilling a structure and then a new structure and you didn't really have one before, you're not just going to implement the structure and it's going to be running so efficiently, so mighty within a year or two. I mean, and this was a lot of things that we alluded to as fans, you know, when they came in. They didn't really have a lot of settling time when they came in for that 2024 summer window. It was a bit chaotic. It was a bit crazy. And they were probably scrambling. This one went a lot more calmly. It went a lot more smoother. I think fans would have still liked it to be a bit quicker because, you know, there was periods where we seemed like we were dragging our feet. But I'm still happy with the signings of Cunha, Sesko, and Buemo. I think they were all very good targets. You know, add-ons to our squad, especially Cunha and Buemo are doing fantastic, and Senny Lemons. You know, and Wilcox talks about Lemons and the targets in here as well, and he goes on to say here about Senny Lemons, you know, Tony Cotton, who is one of our scouts. We have a bunch of scouts, but he's one of our scouts. He said that Tony Cotton was putting Senny Lemons on my radar 12 months ago, and he was relentless with it. This guy is going to be a top signing for us, and he has started well, but he has got to keep it going. He is very reflective, and he is very professional with his approach. We are always looking at goalkeepers that have got huge potential. Sene was available, and we decided to move, but it was not a knee-jerk reaction. And I think that's fair, because you know what? In terms of listen, they were always looking at a goalkeeper. They knew they needed a goalkeeper. I think maybe funds sort of played a part into it, also availability, and that's why it was sort of a last minute thing. But I don't think they panicked, because I don't think it was like prior where they saw Onana play a couple games, they shit themselves, and they were like, we need to go get a goalkeeper. In a certain sense, maybe, but it wasn't like they just randomly signed Senny Lemons because there was no plan for a goalkeeper. There was a plan for a goalkeeper. You know, the whole talk with Emi Martinez and stuff like that, there was a plan for a goalkeeper. I just think it pressed them a little bit more because they were like, we absolutely can't afford to stick with this guy through this season. It's not going to work. And, you know, even Ruben making the decision that Binder was going to start over Onana was quite clear. So I think they were maybe hoping that Binder could, you know, if given a chance, he could turn up. But I think it was quite clear and obvious that, you know, he wasn't made for this football club. He wasn't made to be what we needed in terms of, you know, our system, our style of play, and the Premier League. And then when they got Lemons, and he has been a really good addition to the football club. So again, I think they've on the money on that, and he's got a lot way to go. Like Wilcox has said, he's got to keep it up. But I think he's been an excellent addition. I think they've spot on with that one there. So he also, you know, went into a little bit of his job details, saying that right now I have weekly meetings with the recruitment team on different profiles, the age bracket, the cost, are they attainable with Amorim as well? So it's really joined up approach. when we sign a player, there are so many people that are involved in this process. The data team are involved in the process, and we will then focus all our attention on certain players. It is really important that we do background checks on whether they are clean living professionals. I've been going on about that forever. He also said this is really important. This year, we looked at Premier League ready players, and certainly with Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha, we couldn't take too much risk in this area. We needed players that we could plug in and play with little transition time. And again, I think this is really good to hear this from our director of football to set the record sort of straight, because when you get into the transfer window, whether it's January or the summer window, it's so chaotic. It's a lot of rumors, it's a lot of news, it's a lot of things that come out. You don't know. You know what the club is sort of looking at, but you don't know what's going on in their brains. And Jason, letting us know that this was the thinking, that this was the plan, that this is what they were looking at to do. They went for 210s. I think it can work very well. Again, I always said that it shouldn't have been 110 and a midfielder, or 210s and no midfielder. I think it should have been 210s and a midfielder always. I think it had to be. I think we needed 210s, and I like Cunha very much, and I like Mbeumo very much, and I think they're very good additions. And I think it's actually a smart way, because if you're going to get a striker like Sesko, who is 22, who is going to need a little bit of who's going to need more transition time, who's going to need to develop his game a little bit more and grow and get used to the Premier League and get used to the English football, then, like he said, you can't take too much risk really in that area. The risk is Sesko. The risk is Sesko, and the rest of the risk is minimized because we went for Cunha, we went for Mbeumo. They are Premier League ready, proven players. They're sort of plug and play, like he said. And they've had little transition time, and they've integrated very well with next to nothing. I mean, if you compare them to all the other players that we've gotten in the past couple years, and they've come from, outside of the Premier League, which has basically been most of our transfers, most of them, if not all of them, took a good amount of time to transition. I mean, even De Ligt took a little bit of time. Maz was the one that only seemed like, he really hit the ground running. And players like Ugarte, took him a while. Some people will say that he's still not doing good enough, but I think he's, in terms of for himself, he's gotten better from his starting point to now. So, and then there's Dorgu, like a kid like that, and Xerxes. Even Xerxes started off bad last season. I mean, I know his playing time is like non-existent right now, but last season, when he started, it wasn't good. As the season went on, he got better. He got more likable. He was having more of an impact. So, he then also touched on Benjamin Sesko. So I thought this was all really good stuff. He said Benjamin Sesko at the top end, he's going to be an amazing player. It's difficult to be the number 9 at United. And I know sometimes that Cunha and Mbeumo are getting a lot of the credit, but the runs that Benji is making is also helping Matheus and Bryan well. All 4 of them have done really well. The summer signings from last year, they're top professionals. And this is what we need more of. And this is why this is going to take more time. I know we got maybe some of us in the fan base went a little bit crazy with, talking about winning the league this year. I always said that wasn't going to happen. But, we do have an opportunity at our doorstep right now to finish and have a good season. It's all about, what the players, and coupled with Ruben, are going to be able to seize the moment and take it head on and actually go out there and, win. But I said this the other day when we did the stream, this is what we need. I mean, to have your director of football come out, give words of encouragement, you could call it PR or whatever. Sure, everything is PR in these days, but there's positive PR, there's negative PR. And PR is not always cynical. And to have your director of football come out, talk about the signings, put them in a positive light. They are doing well. Even to give Sesko some words of encouragement. I think Jason probably had in the back of his mind that he knew what Gary Neville said the other day. And, we don't need that. We don't need that sort of stuff. I get he's a pundit, but he should remember Manchester United first, and he should remember that his voice actually carries a decently good amount of weight. And there was just no need to come in and say the things he said about Benjamin Sesko at this current time. So I think Wilcox inadvertently or advertently has kind of countered that today, because his weights carry a lot of weight. He is in charge of Manchester United currently, and people will listen to him when he speaks because he's the one making the decisions currently. So, but I do like the fact that what made me like him more is listening to him speak his thoughts and ideas about the the players' characters, the players' mentality, the attitude. And he even mentioned at one point, and maybe we hit this piece, I don't know if they mentioned it, but he did say that, we are trying to create sort of a family unit here. We are trying to create sort of a better chemistry, a better atmosphere. We desperately need that. We've lost that a long time ago. If you look at throughout Fergie's teams, it wasn't like they were all best mates and, everybody got on and there was never a bad moment and nobody argued with each other. It's normal. Listen, in your own family, you argue, yeah? But you don't despise the person. You have a disagreement, but you move on and you live with each other and you get on with it, yeah? And the argument is because it comes from a place of caring. It comes from a place of wanting the best. Yeah. And we sort of lost that over the last few years. And it's important that we bring that back, because we can't have a team that wins. You can't have a team that is successful without those elements in the squad. And we lost our way with that a long time ago. And it's important to bring that back. And Jason talking about bringing that to the team is very important. And I'm highly encouraged. And I want him to keep doing these things, and I want to hear more from other people, because I like how it sets the record straight. I like how we know sort of to a certain extent what they are planning to do, where is their mindset at, and what are the core values that they believe in. And I really like Jason's approach to building a team. Now, obviously, I like it because, it aligns with mine, but I do believe in those core values, and I think having this guy as the director of football, I think we do have a very good chance that we see some sort of success come out of this. Of course, there's many more steps that we got to make sure that we hit. He's under no, he alludes to that, and he does say that. So, he also went on to say, he says when our meeting time, which is, when the players are supposed to show up to training and stuff like that. So he says our meeting time is at 9:45. And he says, you see the guys arriving at 8:30, 8:45 in the morning. That's a good sign. Whether win or lose, the atmosphere and intensity doesn't change. Of course, when we lose, there's a lot of disappointment and frustration. But once you're on the training ground, you can feel their character, their team spirit, and their energy. And again, I don't know what was happening to a certain extent before these guys came in, but it is a good sign that, the guys are showing up early for training. They're taking it seriously, because if you don't really want to be there, if you don't really care, you'd probably show up at like 9:20, 9:30, like right before, I think we've all done it where, we feel work is a drag and we don't really want to go, and we don't show up early. We don't show up 30 minutes early. We show up like 10 minutes before our shift because we just want to take as much time to ourselves as possible before we have to go and do our work thing. The fact that the players are arriving there early, I mean, it's a small thing, but it's a good indication that they are, the environment seems to have changed. It's a happier environment. It's a better environment. And it's one where the players are actually looking forward to joining into. So, I think there was some other things that he mentioned, but I don't have it on this, what I pulled up on. Phil Jones was on this podcast as well. Phil Jones had a couple things to say, and was speaking about this as well. And, he said, well, he talked about Lisandro, which I'll jump back into because we have to speak about Lisandro Martinez. So I will jump to Lisandro Martinez. So Lisandro Martinez, apparently there's a plan at the football club right now that for Manchester United, apparently they are thinking about letting Lisandro Martinez go and train with Argentina because they think that it would serve a better purpose with him to go train with the Argentinian team at a higher level than the level that he would get at training at Carrington. I guess it would be, either the youngsters, the under 21s, the under 18s, or individual training by himself. I don't know. I understand that there is an air of caution because, the guy has been away for a while. It just, he could get injured. It's not in our hands when he's not here. We can't look after him in the way that we would like to look after him because he is our player. I know, he plays for Argentina, but like they have their own purpose. And he's with us a lot more. Than he is with Argentina. So, he's contracted to us. We pay him. So, he's returned to full training. So the thing was that Lisandro Martinez could join up with Argentina in the international break. United feel his recovery may be better served by training at a high level with Argentina rather than staying at Carrington. Now, I've seen some people, I've seen Mark Goldbridge kind of call this out and try and say, he loves Martinez, but he finds it ridiculous because, if it was Luke Shaw doing that, there would be an uproar. Well, first of all, I would say that, there's a difference between Luke Shaw and Lisandro Martinez. Yeah, Luke Shaw has been an injury-prone player for years. He has never done a full season at Manchester United. And also, Luke Shaw, he's made sort of anti-comments against United. He has not played for United for a full season to go run off with England just to get injured again. I don't think it's the same. And also, this isn't really a push from Lisandro Martinez in terms of Lisandro Martinez isn't really the one, as far as the update that we've got, saying that I want to go play for Argentina. This is United looking at it and coming up with a plan. So our club is in on this. And they're actually the ones that are pushing this. And they're saying that actually it would probably be a benefit for him to go and do some higher level training with the Argentinian squad. Maybe they can come with some sort of an agreement that he doesn't play. I think that might be the worry because if he plays, he could potentially get injured. He has to be limited on the minutes, and also you just don't want him to get injured. Well, when we send him to Argentina, but at the same time, I just don't think it's the same. Like to compare it to Luke Shaw's situation in England, it's totally different. Luke Shaw, the many a times that he wasn't available, and then all of a sudden he's made himself available for England. Leach is not really, doesn't seem to appear that Leach is the one that's doing this sort of thing. It is the club that is looking to get Lisandro there because they see it as a benefit. And you know what? I trust him to do this. And if that's what they think is the best option and the best thing for him and for us, then they should go, full throttle with it and go on with it. But Phil Jones on the same, podcast that Jason Wilcox was on, he did speak a little bit about Ruben Amorim leaving Lisandro out of the squad versus Nottingham Forest, and he said He said, I think it's smart management. I mean, you look at the type of player Leach is and the way he plays his game, you would never want to take that aggression away from him. But because he plays on the edge, which is a great thing to play, everyone needs to play on the edge. But you wouldn't want him to come back too soon because you know there might be chances that he's been out for a long period of time. So it's really good management. And again, I think United could probably do some sort of an agreement because at the end of the day, Argentina, listen, he's one of their players. They need him, right? They need him back. They would like him back. They could make an agreement where he just goes to training and he won't be played and they don't have to play him and they don't have to risk that. And I would hope that Argentina would be um aligned with that. But that is a possibility. So I think if they could do something like that, where he just goes there to train and brings his fitness levels up, and strengthens himself a little bit more, and don't if he's not ready, don't put him in, and don't rush him, give him extra time. Um, then yeah. But Phil Jones opened up about his own experience because obviously we all know that like Phil Jones was super injury prone, and at the end, I mean, the guy couldn't even do training, which was sad to hear from him explain. But he said on opening about his own experience, and Lejandro has suffered 2 bad injuries and has been out for basically 2 seasons now. He said it can be a dark place at times, especially when you're out for that long of a period of time, and I went through it myself. He said it's difficult to see the players going out to train every day when you're in the gym and you're just starting your rehabilitation program. It's very, very difficult to deal with, and you have to have the right support network around you. But he looks in incredible shape at the minute with the pitches you've seen, and I'm sure he's ready. I'm sure he's worked so hard to get back, and ACL is always a difficult one to come back from. And he said, you hear people about either redoing it because they come back too soon, or doing the other one because of the compensating. So you have to be really, really focused and honed in on how you manage those injuries. He's done incredibly well to get back, so he just needs to bide his time a little bit longer, but I'm sure the manager will manage that. Yeah, and I think that's an important part. Like, I kind of feel that too, like, thinking about it. If you think about it, like, you done your ACL, you've been out for such a long time. Just kind of try and picture, if you ever played the game and you ever had an injury and you can't play, and you get that feeling where you're like, you're itching, you're dying, you want to help the team, you want to be out on the pitch, you want to do the training, and you just can't. And it's almost like, I always felt to me like it was like you were put in a box with a small window, and you're looking out this small window at your teammates and stuff, and there's just like nothing you can do. And you're just sitting there like wanting to go be a part with them, and you can't because you have to do certain processes to get back. And so I understand what he means. Like, it can be a dark place because it's kind of like you're on the inside looking out, and there's just nothing you can do about it because you have to go through the process. Otherwise, like he alluded to, you're gonna end up coming back too soon. You're gonna end up re-injuring yourself and stuff like that. So, I love Licha. I think he's gonna be back really soon. And we just need to take a little bit more time with him. He needs to be a little bit more patient. But he does look really good, and we know what he could bring to the table when he is fit and he is playing games. So, I welcome that addition. He's another character. I think he's another one of those sort of leaders that we've been asking for. I think, yeah. So there is a couple more updates that I'd like to get to. One of them, where'd they go? Where did they go? They pulled them up here. I got them right here. So there's some transfer updates that we need to get to. as well. I'm going to kind of run through them, but one of the things is that, and this came from Andy Mitten a few hours ago, saying signing a left wing back is not a priority for Manchester United this summer. The club's main focus is bringing in 1 or 2 midfielders and a new centre back. Now, I've alluded to this, and I've said that we definitely need a midfielder. We could probably end up needing 2. There's some factors that go into that. I mean, one is what's happening with Casemiro, because we have an option to extend his contract for a year. If we do that, right now I think he's getting about $280,000 a week because we're not in Europe, so his wage has lowered. If we get into Europe, his wage is going to go back up 25%, and we're going to have to pay him the $350,000 a week or something like that. And he is Uncle Cass. I love Uncle Cass, but he is getting older by the day, and he is getting slower. And I think we do need to move on, especially because of the wages. The wages do play a factor here for me. So he has been playing very good. He's going to play a prominent role for the rest of the season, as he should continue as long as he's performing. But it also depends on what happens, in that midfield. I think there's a little bit of question marks over Ugarte. There's still sort of this lingering feeling about Bruno, even though I think he's tried to put it straight that he's staying. But I think many fans kind of feel in the back of their gut that there could always be a potential that maybe he ends up going in the summer, after the World Cup and all the dust settles and all that sort of stuff. So, but also the other factors is, are we going to be back into Europe? Because if we're back into Europe, we're going to need a larger squad. Obviously, we're going to need more manpower. And that could determine if we need to sign, for example, if Cass leaves, we already need 1. We already need 1 right now as it is. If Cass leaves, we're going to need somebody to replace him in that position specifically. And then you could argue we need another addition. So could be 1 to 2 midfielders. It could be something similar as to what they've kind of done with the attack, where it'll be 2 midfielders and then a center back, which would be very similar to 2 10s and then a striker. So yeah, I think that is what it's shaping up to be. Now, one of the other updates that we've gotten is that United are apparently considering Dusan Vlahovic, who is on their shortlist. Juventus could accept a £17.5 million offer if he doesn't sign a new deal. His contract is up in the summer, and he has not signed a new deal. I don't know if negotiations are ongoing, but it does seem like that he is set to leave on a free. So Juventus would probably like to get money for him if they could, or re-sign him. That is the current situation. I did watch a bit of him yesterday in the Champions League matches that Juventus played yesterday. He scored. Did he score 2 goals? I think he scored 2 goals. One of them very good take. Experienced striker. I don't think it would be bad, again, because I always said that I wouldn't have mind Rasmus staying. I like the idea of having 2 strikers. You just never know. Sesko could get injured, or Sesko could get, for this season, he could have some growing pains. He could struggle a little bit. You might need somebody else there to carry a bit of the load to help him out. And also, again, thinking about next season, if we do get back into Europe, again, we're going to need a larger squad. So you would presume we would have more injuries, and we're going to need to rotate a lot more. So I think you could fit in a second striker possibly for next season. But this 17.5 million fee would indicate that United may be looking to do that sort of in the January transfer window, because obviously we wouldn't pay a fee for the guy if he's going for free. When he is free in the summer. Now, another update that we got is that United have intensively been scouting RB Salzburg's 18-year-old prospect, Karim, I'm not going to pronounce this guy's name, Alajabegovic. However, I did actually really well. They said, however, securing his signature could prove difficult, as Bayer Leverkusen are determined to outbid any rivals for the youngsters. So, again, another sort of Bundesliga German-linked player. I think this has Vavell sort of written all over it. He is an expert in that league, and when it comes to Red Bull, he is certainly an expert because he worked for them. So I think this has Vavell written all over it. Let's see what comes out of it, but we should be doing more signings like this. I think the club has made an extensive effort to turn their attention to these sorts of things and try and get players at this age, so we're not paying 60, 70, 80, 90 million for every transfer that we do. And, it is an important thing that we need to be doing at our football club. I don't know anything about him. I can't say that I do. I haven't seen him play. I don't know how good he is. I can't tell you he's an exceptional talent. But with these guys in charge right now, Wilcox, Vavell, and the rest of them, I do trust them. I like the players that they've been getting in. I like the fees that they've been paying. I like the wages that they've been paying. So I do trust them to do good business in the transfer market. I actually don't really worry too much about the signings anymore as I did once upon a time, because I think these guys actually have a good understanding and a good plan of action for this sort of stuff. So let's see if that has any, legs to it. Something that I didn't say that I meant to say in the beginning of the show and kind of open with is that Mbeumo won Player of the Month for the Premier League, and rightfully so. And congratulations to him. And he has been, for me, he's been exceptional since coming in. So, big up, Bryan Mbeumo. Continue doing what you're doing. We're loving you here. And yeah, just keep having an impact, man. I mean, you've brung with you the feeling of what a United player sort of is supposed to feel like. And we kind of haven't really felt that for a long time. And you've come in sort of straight away and kind of, reignited that sort of feeling in the football club. Him and Cunha. Along with some of the other ones that have been here as well. I think Luke Shaw is doing actually quite well. And I think Bruno's doing okay. I would like more from my captain, but I think he's doing all right. I think Maguire has been good again, impactful. Ahmad's been very good as well, and I think he has that mentality. I think Delo has the mentality, but his performances haven't been very good, and Dorgu has been struggling a little bit as well, so they need to step it up a bit. Casemiro's been doing good again. And just real quick, just to bring it into the show, we talk a lot about improvement. We talk about a lot about progress is being made, and Jason thinks we're on the right track, and they've been stating that for quite some time now. And, just on this, I'll make it a little bit bigger so people can see it. But if you look after 10 matches, this was last season. So this is prior to Ruben, coming in, because Ruben came in technically on the back end of November. He's almost here for a year. I believe Ten Hag had been sacked at this point, but Ruben ended up actually taking over at the end of November. So after 10 matches last season, Manchester United were in 13th on 12 points with a -3 goal difference. And this season, after 10 matches with Ruben Amorim having, a full, a transfer window and a preseason and all that good stuff. We are in 8th, 17 points, 1 goal difference, and we are, I didn't even do this one, but I'm going to do it now. We are 2 points off of 2nd, whereas the season before, we were 11 points off of 2nd. So, in terms of the table and this season is different. Look at the table, look at how it is. It's looking a little bit more normal now that there's City, Arsenal, and Liverpool up there. But it is a bit all over the place, and it is it's a bit unpredictable right now, for the most part. I think every week since we've started this season, there has been a potential for any team to drop points, and any team to sort of capitalize, on the weekend and capitalize on the points and shift up the table. But I will add, we're playing less matches, so that could have a factor. There's less, there should be less fatigue in the team. There's sort of a less rotation. But at the same time, we did have the hardest opening fixture out of every team in the Premier League this season. And so to be on better points and to be in a better position and to be closer in terms of the gap on top this season after finishing 14th and having a horrible I mean one of our worst seasons ever, if it's not the worst. It's definitely one of the worst. To be in this position now, I it still gives me quite a good amount of encouragement because, you know, it is an improvement. It is an improvement. I mean, we're not where we were last season. I think we've gone through a harder period in the initial stages of the opening of the Premier League. 10 matches in. I think if you look at our fixtures from the 10 matches that we played last season and you look at our fixtures to the 10 matches we played this season is way harder. And we are in the mix and we are close. And we just need to stay there. And we got a big job or a big test, another big test coming against Spurs, as you see on the table there. They are 2 spots above us, but we are on level points. So, the goal difference is better than ours. They got 9, we got 1. We need to fix that a bit. We do need to fix the defense a little bit. We need to stop conceding so many goals. And silly goals, I would add. Silly goals. Because, I mean, if you look at it, we are the only... If you look at the top 10 teams, I mean, besides Bournemouth, we are the only sort of team up there that is close to, a 0 or negative goal difference. Everybody else, I mean, Arsenal's got 15, City's got 12, Liverpool's got 4, Sunderland's got 4. Now, that's not much better than us, but it is going to shape more importantly and be more important as, more matches are played. So I feel like there, we are actually improving. And I know that we have sort of gone backwards. So you would try and argue that, is the improvement real? Because considering we've gone backwards, but I mean, if we've gone backwards and then you've gone forward again, you are improving from the position of where you were at. So we did do a period that we did go quite backwards. Obviously finishing 14th and now obviously not being in Europe this season, that is quite backwards for us, even though we haven't been that good over the last 10 years, but that's significantly quite backwards for us. But the league at the end of the day is the bread and butter. The league is what's going to propel us forward and help this project and make it grow. And it is important that we perform in this. I mean, it's our only option. So we are in the mix this season right now. We got to keep it up. And I think they can do it. We're going to talk a little bit on the next show, which is, well, we'll do it on Friday. I'll do a little bit of a preview for Tottenham and Manchester United. We'll talk about that. Tomorrow we got an early show. So we're going to be earlier a lot. We're going to be live a lot earlier than we normally are. I believe it is at 3 p.m. British Standard Time. We're going to be live. So we're going to do sort of an afternoon stream. But yeah, and I think there was an update that I needed to cover that I didn't cover before, just on Elliot Wilson. Did I say Elliot Wilson? I meant Elliot Anderson. I don't know what I'm saying today. Elliot Anderson. Elliot Wilson. Who the hell is Elliot Wilson? I don't even know where I got that name from. So this was the update that Manchester United are ready to offer £60 million in the January transfer window for Elliot Anderson, who has become a key target for United. Ruben Amorim is obsessed with him, and United will try everything to get him to Old Trafford sooner rather than later. I mean, I think obsessed is probably an exaggerated word. I don't know if he's obsessed with him. I think that's a word to kind of sell the story a bit, because I've seen them say this about almost every player. I mean, they said, Baleba is very high on United's list. Baleba wanted to join United without Champions League football. Amorim and the directors are obsessed with Baleba. If you go and dig up some stuff around Dorgu before we signed him, Amorim is said to be obsessed with Dorgu. Listen, I think for the club, I've always said, listen, I understand it's difficult to do sort of maybe that business in January, because I don't think Forest want to sell their players in January, especially to a Premier League sort of rival and team in terms of, fighting within the same league, and the same goes for Brighton. But I mean, and they can't waste their time if there's nothing to it. But you know what? I think even just for themselves, even just for optics at that level, go throw in a bid. If they reject it, they reject it. But I think it would buy you some points with the fans at the very least, and be like, you know what? Look, they tried. They're trying. There's only so much you can do. We put in a bid. They rejected it. We're making it clear we want him, and we're pushing for him. And, kind of test the waters as well. Put in that bid. See how he reacts to it. He probably would want to leave and come with us, so maybe he makes a push for it. Maybe we end up getting him. You can't score if you don't shoot, I would say. So, if they do this, I think that we do need a midfield reinforcement. And I think that maybe they sort of planned this out in that, one of the positions would have to suffer, maybe temporarily for a few months till we could get to January and maybe make a signing. And I think when they looked at it and they were like, we need the goalkeeper. The 2 10s would be impossible to do in the middle of the season. We got to do that in the summer. They're going to cost a large amount of money, and the striker as well. But I think in the midfield, if you look at the midfield, I think there's always like available options in the midfield. There's always like some sort of deal to be done about the midfield. I think the midfield is one place where there is sort of, when you look at the options, I mean at 10, I mean at the striker, options are always very limited. It is very hard to do. I mean, even to do a deal for a striker in the summer is hard to do. It's not a position that comes with a lot of abundance in it. When you look at the midfield, there always seems to be some sort of a deal, whether you can buy somebody or they're loan players. There seems to be more of them. There seems to be more availability of them. So maybe I'm giving them more credit than they deserve. I don't know, because they haven't really indicated this. But from what I feel like and what I see is that they made sort of a bit of a gamble, a bit of a decision that let's do the attack. We'll hit the goalkeeper, and we'll move for a midfielder, at least one. And whether it's a loan, or we can get one of our actual targets in, we'll get the midfielder in January, and we should be able to do well till we get to January, and we'll get the reinforcement in. But we need to be doing business this January. Wilcox has already alluded to that. Ruben has alluded to that as well. So I'm having high hopes that this January actually is going to be a bit different than we're normally used to. I think I think we as United fans got into a routine that, don't expect any signings, don't expect any movement from United. They never do business. They don't do any business at all. And if they do business, it's usually quite shit. Remember back a few January windows ago, we're begging for a striker. We're begging for a goal scorer. They get a Magallo. They get Weghorst. Not the caliber of player you want to see when we're begging for help, and we know that we need it because we're going to be in trouble. So I think right now on the surface level, we have some very good options on the table and potential deals that we could do. So I'm hoping that this does pan out quite well for us. But we will see as it goes. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The left wing back thing is quite interesting because, what is the plan there? Steph has jumped in here, says, hey, says, yo, Eric, with a heart. What's up, Steph? How you doing? Yeah, I think the left wing back thing is quite interesting because I think we feel like we probably need to do something on that left hand side. I still kind of feel like a lot of times it's really just only Dorgu, and there isn't real competition on that side. And Delo for me is better suited to play on the right. I mean, even Ruben alluded to it last time when he said in one of his interviews that, Diogo is a right-footed player, and it's kind of hard to operate on that because Cunha is inside, and if you're right-footed and you're playing left wing back, you kind of want to go inside because that's the move to do with your right foot, and go inside and kind of make something happen with that. But you can't do that if Cunha is there, and that's Cunha's position is more inside than it is. So, yeah. Grace says, "Hi, I'm Grace. I just subscribed. I'm a Man United fan and a big Diego Delo fan." Well, nice to meet you, Grace. How you doing? Actually, just talking about Delo a little bit. But yeah, I think the left-hand side, left wing back, I find it a bit interesting that we're getting an update saying that United will not move for left wing back in the summer. Now, I don't know if they have any plans for maybe some of our youngsters. There is a potential for maybe Harry Amos. Kind of need to be doing a little bit more of a loan watch for him there because I heard that he was doing okay. I don't know how, he's been doing as of late. But maybe they have a plan for him. There is also Leon, Diego Leon, who is supposed to be playing on that side. So maybe they have a plan that one of them two is going to be sort of a backup, an understudy, a competitor with Dorgo on that side. And maybe that's why they are not going to go for a left wing back because maybe they already have some future planning for that. But yeah, I think for the moment at time that we find ourselves, again, I think Diallo holds down that right-hand sided position. You also have Maz that can cover that side, and then, you're going to have to do something with Delo and Dorgu because we really don't have any other options. I mean, it's either Dorgu or Delo. I don't really think Maz can really play that left-hand side. I think if anybody can give it a shot, it would probably be Delo, but obviously that's not his preferred side, and that's not his best side. His best side's on the right because he's right-footed and he needs to operate in the correct space. So, Steph says this is an AA meeting, Grace, or a DD meeting. This is I don't know. It's whatever she wants it to be. It's whatever she wants it to be. But Delo is brilliant everywhere he plays. Well, I don't know, Grace. There's many people in the fan base that disagree with you on that. I'm just letting you know. And I'm not being facetious here. I'm not saying it's me. I'm just saying every time I go on the internet, Grace, I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but last time I think I was reading something about Delo. The comments are not good. Yeah. Your husband is in dire need of your support right now because he is he is getting absolute pelters from the fan base. Did you know I'm Portuguese? I did not. I know that you're English, but you're also Portuguese, Grace. Can you give us a word in Portuguese in the chat? Yeah, I mean, just yesterday, like, just to hit this point real quick, but like, so yesterday when we were doing the live, and by the way, that live got taken down because there was an issue, so I had to remove it. But at the end of the live, there was a story came out from the Sun, and everybody's favorite person, everybody's favorite grumpy grandpa, Samuel Luckhurst, came out and said apparently Amorim and Delo are related, and that they are like the great grandsons of his name is like Carlos Delo, apparently a 19th century circus artist, which I feel like you could say you can't make this shit up, but I feel like that shit's made up. And apparently United sources confirmed the distant relation between the Portuguese pair. If you go into the comments under any of these aggregators, of United accounts that posted this, and you read the comments are not favorable at all. I mean, one person came out here and defended this, which I agree with it, but I mean, we have to remember, it's the internet. It's filled with idiots and dummies and people that just want attention and clicks. But I mean, like somebody said, Delo showing us that he's a true circus act. You know, somebody said 19th century circus artist. No wonder they're both clowns. Someone said now it makes sense why Delo's name is first on the team sheet, even after a poor run. But really, the top comment that I want to say is this person, yeah, that said, so what's the problem? Y'all acting like Ruben is the one who signed him. Y'all are toxic, and I hate this fan base. We won 3, drew 1. What's the outcry about? Y'all are never satisfied. We're just starting to make things work. We're always bitching about something. We can't just enjoy this period and take it game by game without putting unnecessary pressure on the manager. Great-great-grandfather, who gives a fuck? It's football, people. Will their chance to play Dorgu, Leon? It's a long season. I think they got it sort of down to the point that needs to be. Is that, listen, I don't know about this story. I don't know if it's true or not. It sounds like bullshit. Samuel Luckhurst, I mean, just disgrace your name. I guess as you're going down the toilet and you end up at the Sun, and I guess that's why you're at the Sun, so you could say shit like this because you couldn't do it at the Manchester Evening News. But I don't think that really has anything to do with it. I'm going to be quite honest. People can say whatever they like, and people can make all the accusations they want. Oh, they're Portuguese, and now they're related, and, you know, now he's going to pick him every match. I don't think Ruben really operates like that. I don't. If you listen to the man speak, if you listen to his ideas, if you listen to his thoughts, he is not a man that is going to favor somebody because they came from the same fucking country. Or even if they are somehow possibly related to a 19th century circus man, artist, whatever you want to call him. I think Ruben picks players based on ability, attitude, what they're doing in training. And again, I will say this for the time, till the end of time, Diogo Dalot, but regardless of ability, he has a good attitude, he has a good mentality. I've listened to him speak before. He does try to take up Cristiano Ronaldo's example of being a professional, an exemplary professional. And you can say he's not a good player, and you can say he doesn't have good ability, and you could want him out of the team, and that's all fine. I don't care. That's your opinion. But what I'm saying is, I would put it and jock it down to the reason why Dalot gets into the team, and the reason why Dalot plays is because he has a good mentality, a good attitude. He shows up to training. He is an exemplar. I can't say the word. I'm just going to skip it. He is an example professional. And that's why Ruben likes him. And that's why Ruben plays him. Also, Dorgu, young guy, still hasn't been here for a year, has been struggling a little bit. His performances haven't been that great. So you can say throw Diego Dalot out of the team all you want. And you can hate Diego Dalot all you want. But Dorgu ain't performing much better. So I think Dorgu has some better things to his game. But I've seen Dorgu play like shit. And I've seen Dalot not playing like shit as well. So they're kind of competing with each other at this moment in time. Grace says Amorim is my uncle. Well, I think that's a slight problem you got there, Grace. I mean, if you're married to Dalot, if Dalot is your husband and Amorim is your uncle, and they're distant cousins or whatever the fuck they are, they're related. I don't want to be the one to say it, but I think you know where I'm getting at. Steph says Jose signed Dalot. He is his grandfather. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bruno and Dalot are, you know, they're brothers, and Ronaldo is another uncle of both of them, and Ruben is related to Jose, and Jose is related to fucking Delo, and Delo is related to Nani, and somehow Bebe is the godfather of all of them. Shout out if you remember Bebe. Bebe he's the godfather of all of them. And he ain't even old enough to be the godfather for all of them. Grace says poll for two people. Let's do it. What are we polling? Delo is my husband. Amorim is my uncle. Jose is my granddad. Delo, Portuguese man of war or jellyfish poll question? Wait, what? Delo, Portuguese man of war or jellyfish? I'll poll it. I gotta end the poll. I don't know how to do it. Let me end the poll. We'll start a new poll. New poll. Delo. Portuguese. I don't know if I spelled that right. Man of war. Or jellyfish. Those are your two options. We got it live. And there's more than 2 people. There's 7 people in here watching right now. Shout out to all of you that jumped in late. Please make sure you hit the like button because it is important to the channel, and we appreciate that very much. So make sure you hit the and you hit the like button. I kind of lost where I was going for. Oh yeah, we were talking about I kind of got into a little bit of a Delo rant. But yeah, my whole thing was just basically that, you know, where the conversation started was the left wing back position, because the update that we got tonight is that United are apparently not looking to sign a left wing back in the summer window, and many of us on this have said that, you know, I think we should sign a left wing back, but the club doesn't seem like they've pivoted away from that. And they're talking about two midfielders, 2 center mids, and a center back. Now, I've been saying that we probably will go for center back. I think it probably looks like it. Especially, I think there's a little bit of tinkering to do there, because there is the question marks over Maguire. Are we going to give him sort of, you know, a new contract and extend his time here a little bit more? You know, Luke Shaw is playing in that position right now, but I don't think he'll go anywhere. But again, I still don't know how much I can trust him there. There's question marks over Lisandro Martinez. His contract is coming down in terms of time here, and he hasn't even come back yet. We need to see him perform, and then we need to figure out, you know, are we going to give him a new contract as well? So there could be a lot of moving pieces going on in the back. That may develop, you know, at some point, because I just don't know. You know, if we let Maguire go, maybe we don't end up giving Martinez a new contract. Maybe we let him go. Maybe we try and sell him or something like that. And then also, again, like I've been saying, pretty much for everything, because I think this thing has an impact on literally everything that we do. You know, if we do get back into Europe, we're going to need a bigger squad. So we're going to need some more options. And then it really comes about really planning down the rest of the team, yeah? Do you continue to ever use Maz as, you know, is his first position going to be one of the center backs, or is he going to be shifted out as a wing back more permanently on a permanent basis and center back as a second option? It's going to be interesting to see, you know, once Martinez is back, left-footed player, experienced player, with the way Luke Shaw is playing, you know, what's going to happen there? Is Martinez going to end up taking back his starting spot? Is Luke Shaw going to kind of lose his starting spot there? Is Luke Shaw actually, maybe he was only a temporary, you know, gap stop for that position, and maybe Luke Shaw gets shifted back out to left wing back, and plays there, and his secondary position becomes center back if need be. So, Eric has the deciding vote if it's a tie. Somebody else tie. Somebody else vote, man. Somebody else vote. I don't want to be the guy. It's too it's too much responsibility. It's too much responsibility. But yeah, I mean, Emblemo Player of the Month. I don't know. Did they announce Managers of the Month, or did they not do that yet? Because I would really like Ruben Amorim to win it. I would really like Ruben Amorim to win it. I think it would cap off a really good October for us. Steph says, vote, like, subscribe, and comment. Yes, please do that, people. Get in there. I know it's a late show. Listen, so whoever's here, shout out to you. You guys are warriors. I love you all, and thank you. I couldn't do it earlier, so I had to do it after the matches. Grace says, man up, Eric, just pick jellyfish. I will. I listen. I will put in my vote right before we get out of here. Yeah. I just wanted to say a couple more things. That I wanted to just discuss and talk on because, as you all know, I wasn't able to do the Red Devil recap. By the way, I've come up with a new name for these things. Yeah, these weekly sort of news roundups. We're gonna call it the Red Devil Roundup. You know, decently good name. But yeah, these will be called the Red Devil Roundups. And then the Red Devil recaps are obviously when we talk after the match. And we do match recaps. But because I didn't get to do that, which I was very pissed off about, because I enjoy those the most out of everything we do. Yeah, not to say that I don't like things that we don't do, that we do, but I love the raw reaction, the raw feeling after the match, and just dissecting it and just talking about, what we watched. And I wasn't able to do it. I'm not going to go back into the details of the match like that, but what I want to talk about a little bit about, or hit the point on that I wanted to get through, is that I saw a lot of reaction after. I mean, there was disappointment. I get it. I was a bit disappointed as well. It's been a few days after that. I feel a little bit on the lighter side now. It's not all dark and gloomy. Listen, we have 3 wins and a draw. We're still undefeated. It's not a straight pure winning streak, but we're still undefeated in this current moment in time. 3 wins and a draw out of your last 5 matches is a very good record. If you look at the table that I bring up earlier, and I'll bring it up again. I mean, we're in 8th, and this is the comparison to last season. We're in 8th, 17 points, 2 points over 2nd. We are in a way better position this season so far than we were last season after 10 matches. And we can't get all hysteria. Again, it's not all doom and gloom. It was bad that we gave up the game in a 5-minute span. It's that thing is still there, but I feel like we're gnawing away at it little by little. We're chewing away at it. We're trying to chip away at it. We're trying to eradicate it out of the team. I think we are moving that direction. Obviously, what happens against Tottenham now is going to be a big sort of indication. Grace says, poor Wolves. That was my first thought when I saw this picture, man. So yeah. But I don't think there's anything to be so overtly angry about, disgusted about. We can have criticisms and stuff like that, but I think if you look at the bigger picture, if you look at this, if you look at where we are, if you look at the fact that we're not, this time last year, we were 11 points off of 2nd place already. We are certainly in the mix. Things are improving. We should enjoy this moment that we're in, and we should take it game by game as we could. Grace says the Red Devil roundabout of spin. That's a mouthful though to say. Steph says Lemon starts. We are unbeaten so far, and that's good. I want him to keep it up. I want that to continue. And it's a good point, Steph. Again, I can't stress the amount. I can't stress the impact that he's made, just by being a regular player. I'm gonna say this in a way that might not sound so complimentary, but I think it's kind of been a theme, and it's been brought up to him. They've been calling him boring, and I would just say he's made a difference by doing nothing special. You know, he hasn't done anything special. He's just come in and been a goalkeeper and played a simple game. And we need that. We need that. I think we've overcomplicated. We've had too many players come in and overcomplicate the game and try to be like, you know, this special God's given gift. And we don't need that. We just need you to play in a team. We just need you to fulfill your job, your role, and make sure that you're doing the best of your ability. And you don't have to overcomplicate things. You know, we don't need Lemons doing scorpion save kicks. We don't need him doing special things in terms of like, you know, just example like worldly things. We just need him to save the ball and distribute it well and be a voice back there and kind of command and lead, and that's what he's done. So but Steph also says scoring first in games is key for us. It is. You know, and I've brung this up multiple times, and you could probably go through every video, every live that we've done, stretching back to last year, which nobody's going to do. So that's why I'm going to tell you. But you could if you want to. And I can guarantee you for a fact that we've stressed that in all of our lives. You know, we had to stop conceding first. We have to score first. It is a big, huge factor. I mean, it's not groundbreaking science. It's not groundbreaking news. But you could, I just saw it so many times last season in matches that we played where I felt like we were we might have not played amazing, but I felt like we were really unlucky in a lot of the results that we played, in terms of that we were in the match, we were doing decently okay. The opposition wasn't anything special. The opposition wasn't like overrunning us or completely outplaying us for most of the times. There was games where we got destroyed, yeah? But we let up a stupid goal. And the whole game plan goes out the window. Everything is different for us, and we struggle, and we were already struggling. And if you look at the past couple matches where we've succeeded and we've done quite well, we scored first. And when we score first, the game comes to us then. They have to play into our game. They can't play their game. They got to play our game. And when they have to play our game, we just have a better chance of succeeding. We have a better chance of winning the game. We're more in control. We're more comfortable. And that's why I wanted these players to sort of get the taste of converting the chances early, scoring the chances, and just getting that taste of like hitting the early chances, leading the game, and then controlling it from there. Because it's no coincidence that the matches that we've won, and even the match against Forest, I mean, we scored first. And many people in this fan base have been saying since that match, and even, you know, Phil Jones and others, Jason Wilcox said it on the interview today, that they feel like, you know, in that situation, we would have lost the match. We wouldn't have come back and drew it. You know, last season, we probably would have lost that match. And I agree, we would have lost it because we would have lost our heads. Even though we had some comebacks in the Europa League and stuff like that. But scoring first helped us. It did help us. And we did drop down, but we found a way to go back up and make it level. So I said this the other day. I don't feel like we didn't pass the test, because I've been saying the Forest was a test. We didn't pass the test, but we didn't like necessarily fail the test. I kind of feel like we were very borderline. Like, I don't know how they do the grades in Europe, but in America, it's by numbers, yeah? So 65 is passing, 64 is failing. I feel like we were right there, because we didn't go and get the win. We did well in large parts of the game. We had an opportunity to go on and win it. We failed that aspect. We let them into the game. We collapsed in a 5-minute period. We gifted them 2 goals. But then we came back, tied it, and walked away with a point. And I was saying, you know, low block, dice ball, it's going to be a difficult game because they have a good team. We managed to score 2. Now, for me in the past, we would have struggled to make the amount of chances that we made in the match, and we would have struggled to even put 2. We would have been lucky to get 1, yeah? So that's why I kind of feel like we didn't really pass the test because we didn't win and we didn't like dominate the match, but we didn't lose the match either. So I kind of feel like we borderline walked that one. Now we got the Tottenham one coming up, and that's going to be another one, and that's another test because they are, um, basically in the same position as us. It's a 6-pointer. And I believe are we away if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a tough match. They had our number last season. Every single time we played them, they beat us. I think they beat us 4 times last season. New manager. They are playing some good football. I mean, I just watched them the other day playing Champions League as well, and they were playing some good football, similar to what Thomas Frank had them doing at Brentford. So, it's going to be a tough match, and it's going to be a tough test, and we're going to see, what our players got in them. I'm excited because I want this team to continue to be tested. I want to know the real level. I think it's important that we get the real level, of what our squad actually is, because I will say this again. I don't think last season was I don't know how to word it in a way without it sounding like, I don't think it was a proper indication, because I don't think Ruben is that level of a manager that he would finish in 14th. I don't think the squad that we had in terms of players, if you get them on track and if you get them, accustomed to the system and performing and playing, I don't think that they're a group of players that should be finishing 14th. I think the circumstances we found ourselves in last season was very, it was just a mess, yeah? And I feel like that played a huge role in it. So, but we got what we deserved, so I'm not excusing that. And we were what we were. Yeah, we did finish 14th. We did lose the Europa League final to Tottenham. We did not get into Europe, and we are where we are now. So we deserve what we got because that's what we put in, and that's what we got out of it. But I want this team to continue to be tested week in, week out, because it's the only way we're going to know where we actually stand, for real. So, another big test. I'm not afraid of these. If we lose, we lose, and we got to take it on the chin. And if we win, we get to celebrate it. So, Gray says there's Steph said we play Wolves twice in December 8th and 30th. Well, did they get a new manager in already? So hopefully they don't figure things out. I mean, I will take easy matches as they come as well. Like, I'm not, I do want them to get tested, but I will take whatever help we can get, because you know what, there's been a lot of moments where I've seen where it's just like we're on the unfortunate side throughout the years here. Yeah, just feels like when things are already going wrong, more things seem to go wrong, or when things seem that they can't go any more wrong, they go wrong at United, and that's been happening for years. So I will. Because I'm selfish and because I'm greedy, in terms of that, I want my team to do good, and I want us back in European football. And that I put that over everything. I don't even really care how we do it or how we get there. Just get there. So if we play a team like Wolves twice, and they're just absolutely shit, and they're, grasping at straws, and it's easy for us, I will take that. I will take an easy 6 points. Not that it's going to be an easy 6 points, but I'm just saying if a situation develops where we find ourselves getting an easy 3 or 6 points against a team that's really struggling, I will also take that absolutely, because I think we need to take everything that we possibly can in this season, because we need to get back into Europe. Gray says 4 points between 2nd and 11th. Yeah, it's crazy. The league is crazy this season. I mean, it is different, and I would make the point that obviously, last year we were in Europe, so we had those 10 matches, but we also had some European matches. We had some rotation. There's probably, I think probably the injury list was a little bit different as well. But at the end of the day, we've always said it here, and you guys have always said it, or girls, I should say, because I got the 2 girls chatting with me. It's only right. We've always said that we've always said that the league is the bread and butter. Yeah. So wherever we're performing, wherever we are, if we're in the mix and we're looking good in the Premier League, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about the semantics of, yeah, we're not in Europe, so, that's why we're doing better. I don't care. I just want us to do better. I just want us to do better. And right now we're doing better. So that's all I need to take from that. Right now we're in a better position than we were last season. And hopefully we continue that throughout the rest of the year. And the rest of the season we keep it up. Gray says, can we all agree that every game Arsenal win, the hate for them increases? Well, yes, especially from their fans. Yeah, their fans make it. I couldn't really be bothered about Arsenal's actual players and team. I guess it's their fans that make me want to smash my head against the wall. Because right now, even I know a bunch of them. Yeah. And already right now, it's like every match they're like, yeah, we got a clean sheet, another clean sheet, and nobody scored on us. And, I don't know, we're going to win the Prem and the Champions League this season. I'm like, whoa. Relax. I mean, I know you're top of the table, and I know you're doing exceptionally well, but this is the difference between United people and Arsenal people, because Arsenal people have forgot what it is to win something, yeah? For me, I've seen the run-in growing up under Fergie so many times, and I still won't forget. And I know what it takes, and I know what happens. You could be looking so good for months, and it could all fall apart. And they're already talking like they're about to do a double in terms of Premier League and Champions League. I'm like, you guys have such a long road to go, and you have absolutely no clue what's going to happen. I mean, you guys are playing all these matches. They have some injury problems, but now is not the period. The period is the Fergie period, when he talks about after the Christmas period. That is when shit gets serious. So I just sit there and I'm just like, be happy for your team, be excited, but I wouldn't be surprised if something falls apart for you when we get to February. I don't know. I mean, right now, I think in the league they have a very good shot. I don't think they'll win the Champions League, though. I don't think they'll do it. I just don't. So they can continue on with that. But Steph says Spurs are especially tough to play against if they get the first goal. Yeah, we can't let them do that. Again, that's one of the focuses. We can't let them get the first goal. Even if we don't score necessarily the first goal in a certain sense, Steph, we can't let them score first and early, yeah? We gotta, if we're not gonna score, nice and early, we gotta keep it tied 0-0, and we gotta frustrate the shit out of them, and we gotta keep it close for as long as possible, and then maybe we find a breakthrough in the match. But most important thing, don't let them score first, and don't let it happen early. I mean, if it happens, you want it done later on, in a certain sense, but you don't want it you don't want it early, yeah. But yeah, that's always the focus. We can't let them score first. We gotta score first. It's the only thing that gives us the best possible chance. In every match, scoring first it's got to be done. It's the way the winning teams go. It just propels you on a different level. So. Steph says rival teams worry if United get an early goal. They know it gives us confidence. Yeah, and they should, because it's true. I mean, it does give us confidence. It gives, it's not even just for United, though. It gives every team confidence. But some teams, they don't have necessarily the quality to keep up toe to toe. I think, it does give us confidence. It relaxes us a bit to a certain extent. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But yeah, I just think it gives us a little bit more freedom. I feel like it makes the players a little bit more free. And we continue to approach the match in a different way than, but we do have some resilience about us as well. We have been sort of a resilient bunch as of late. Like, we are not going down without a fight, which is good. We need that as well because of things like, football is crazy. like we did take the lead against Nottingham, but we gave it away. But we had the resilience to find something late in the game, and I mean, what a strike by Ahmad. And we ended up getting something out of it instead of nothing, because it was looking like we might have just threw away everything. So, Vicario, their keeper, always seems turned up against us. A lot of players do that against us, Steph. A lot of players do that against us, and that's why our players. That's why our players need to be turned up. That's why our players need to be, they need to be on their game, because there's been a lot of times, and I think you girls and anybody else that's watching can agree that a lot of the games that we may have lost, the Carabao Cup one was an example. Like, we lost that not because like tactics. It wasn't like tactic masterclass or anything like that. We lost it because they were really hungry for it, and they wanted to like prove themselves a lot more than our players were hungry for it and wanted to prove themselves. That's the only reason why we lost that match. They weren't skillfully better for us. The tactics weren't anything to do with it. And that's happened a lot throughout the years. We've lost tons of matches because we go into the match kind of half-assed, like, and then the opposition, they're out there like playing their A game because they got a point to prove. Like, they want to beat United. They want to say we beat United. They want to say we're better than you. They want to kick us while they're down. So the players have to remember that. Like, you can't go out there with a half-ass mentality, because Vicario or somebody else on the team are going out there and they're going to prove, or their goal is to show you up. Their goal is to prove you ain't fucking special. I'm better than you. And actually, you're a disgrace that you are at United and you're representing them in this way, because I'm about to outplay you. That should never happen. So, and I'm not saying that is going to happen, but they need to remember, we are United. If you're not a United fan, you hate us. And if you hate us, you're against us. And if you're against us, they're trying to kill us. They're trying to beat us. So we need to go into these matches expecting everybody to be on top of their A game, and with the mentality of, I'm going to fucking outperform them. I'm going to outperform them. So I worry about it a little bit less, because we got the likes of Cunha and Mbuemo, and listen, they're not going to be invincible forever. Yeah, they're not going to be invincible for the whole season. There's going to be moments when we go into a game, nobody's going to play good. There's going to be moments or times throughout the season where Mbuemo and Cunha, maybe they both struggle, maybe one of them struggles. We saw it a little bit where Mbuemo, it was one of the matches we played already. Mbuemo and Cunha, they struggled a little bit in that match. They bounced back the next match. So I expect them to do these sorts of things. But listen, I'm glad for everybody that jumped in here. I know it's a really late one for you guys over there on the other side of the world, so I appreciate every single one of you. Appreciate everybody that came in here. Shout out to Steph and Grace, the two mods, for holding it down tonight and coming in here and giving me somebody to chat to while I was live, because I was just a talking headpiece for a while. So thank you, ladies. I appreciate it very much. And I know it's late over there for you, so. Listen, we are going to be live tomorrow, but tomorrow is going to be a different one, because I am trying some different things out for the channel. I'm trying to find some different time slots and see if things work, because I've been doing the same sort of time slot for a long time now. So I'm trying to see what I could do with the schedule, mix it up a little bit. So tomorrow, we will be doing a live, but it is going to be much earlier than this for sure, and it's going to be earlier than we usually do, and that's going to be, I put it in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. But today is Wednesday, sorry. Thursday at 3 p.m. British Standard Time, we will be doing a Red Devil roundup. So we're going to be, whatever news comes out at that time, we will be discussing it. We will have the latest and live reaction to whatever it is that, we get tomorrow. And we'll go from there. And then Friday, we got Football Friday, and it's going to be at 8:30 British Standard Time. So that one's always good. And, that one will be more general. I'm going to do a little bit of a preview for the match against Tottenham on that one. And then also, if anybody ever wants to have any general discussion about football, you can bring up whatever club you want. We can talk about it. It's like a casual Friday type of show. So whatever the chat really wants to talk about, that's what we'll be talking about and focusing on Friday. So yeah, other than that, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Well, I should say guys and girls. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe. We will speak and see each other tomorrow. I hope you join me for that show. I look forward to hearing from you and listening to your opinions and taking your questions and comments as I always do. So other than that, everybody be good. Stay safe. Have a good night. Thank you. And we'll speak